Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Podcast and Chill. I'm James, your go to for deep thoughts, calm vibes, and a gentle reminder that you're allowed to take life one step at a time.
And I'm Sophia, lover of snacks, avoider of boring routines, and professional interrupter of James's wisdom. But hey, I keep things spicy.
That you do. So, Sophia, tell me honestly, have you ever tried to completely change your life overnight?
Absolutely, twice a month minimum. New planner, new playlist, clean room, green juice, the works.
And how long does it last?
Until lunch, then I usually give up and convince myself that productive resting is a real thing.
Yeah, that's the trap a lot of us fall into. We wait for this big burst of energy or motivation to make a massive change. But real growth, it doesn't look like that.
Okay, wise one. So, what does it look like?
It looks boring, quiet, repetitive. It's called the 1% mindset. The idea that if you improve just one tiny bit every day, that adds up to something huge over time.
Hold up, 1%? That's like the effort it takes to put socks in the laundry basket instead of next to it. Okay, I get the concept, but come on. Does 1% really move the needle?
Let me put it this way. If you improve by just 1% every day for a year, that adds up to being about 37 times better. Not 37%, 37 times.
Wait, seriously? I knew math had superpowers, but I didn't realize it was that dramatic.
Yup, it's like compound interest, but for your habits, your health, your mindset, whatever area you want to improve.
Okay, I'll admit, that's kind of impressive, but it also sounds slow.
It is slow. That's the point. We're conditioned to chase fast results. Overnight success, glow ups, 6 week transformations. But most of that stuff fades just as quickly as it comes.
So you're saying slow is the new sexy?
Exactly. The people who win long term, they're not the ones who sprint. They're the ones who stay consistent, even when no one's watching.
That's kind of comforting, honestly. Like maybe I don't have to become a new person by Monday.
You don't. You just need to be slightly better than yesterday. That could mean reading 5 pages of a book, drinking one extra glass of water, getting out of bed 5 minutes earlier.
That sounds doable, almost too doable.
That's why it works. You're not battling your willpower, you're building momentum through small wins.
Okay, okay. But what if I'm the kind of person who needs fireworks and big results to stay excited?
Then the real challenge isn't effort, it's patience. And trust me, if you stick with it, the fireworks come later. Just not on day one.
You mean I can't become a six-figure entrepreneur, run a marathon, and write a novel by Friday?
Not unless you've got a time machine. But you can take a step toward those goals today. And if you do that again tomorrow and the next day, you'll be shocked at what you've built in 6 months.
All right, I'm still skeptical, but I'll bite. Maybe I'll start with something easy, like putting my phone down 5 minutes earlier at night.
Perfect example. Small shift, big potential. That's how the 1% mindset begins. One tiny intentional change.
Okay, listeners, if you're like me and your improve everything by the weekend plans usually crash and burn, maybe try the turtle route. Slow, steady, and apparently 37 times more effective.
Stick around. We're just getting started. In the next part, we'll talk about why discipline beats motivation every time and how the 1% don't wait to feel like it. All right, Sophia, tell me something. When was the last time you waited to feel motivated before doing something important?
This morning, I told myself I'd only start answering emails after I felt ready. Spoiler alert, I'm still not ready.
Exactly. That's where most of us get stuck. We're all waiting for the stars to align, for the perfect mood, for inspiration to hit us like a bolt of lightning.
But James, sometimes I do feel motivated. Like that one Sunday when I reorganized my entire kitchen.
Sure, motivation shows up sometimes. The problem is it's unreliable. It's like a flaky friend. Fun when it's there, but don't count on it showing up every day.
You just described 90% of my friendships? Ouch.
The truth is, the people who consistently grow, the so called top 1%, don't depend on motivation. They lean on discipline.
Okay, but isn't discipline just a fancy word for forcing yourself to suffer?
Not at all. Discipline is about showing up because you've decided to, not because you feel like it. It's the skill of doing what needs to be done, even when Netflix sounds better.
So it's kind of like brushing your teeth? No one's hyped about it, but we do it anyway.
Exactly. You don't need a TED talk or motivational playlist to brush your teeth. You just do it because it's part of who you are now.
I think I get it. Motivation says, I want to go for a run. Discipline says, I'm running whether I want to or not.
Bingo. One's a feeling, the other's a decision. The people who achieve real, lasting growth, they're the ones who choose action, even when it's boring, tiring, or inconvenient.
So basically, the 1% are made up of stubborn gym rats with no emotions.
Not quite. They're just people who've learned how to act through discomfort. And here's the thing, they feel all the same stuff we do. They just don't let it drive the car.
Man, I let my feelings drive and DJ the playlist.
We all do at some point, but think about this. If you only studied when you felt like it, how often would that actually be?
Uh, Maybe twice a month, and even then, I'd need snacks, candles, and a 15-minute warm-up scroll.
Right. But if you create a system, I study at 9 a.m. every day, no matter what, it becomes automatic. You take the emotion out of the equation.
Okay, but what if I really don't feel like doing something? Like my soul says, nope.
Then that's the exact moment where you build mental strength. Even if you just do one small thing, you're training yourself to show up anyway.
Like do 5 jumping jacks and call it a win?
Exactly. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing something. That show up muscle only grows when you use it.
So you're telling me the 1% aren't superhuman. They just keep promises to themselves even on the bad days.
That's it. Discipline is about integrity with your future self. It's saying, I may not feel like it now, but I will be glad I did it.
Ugh, that's deep, like painfully accurate.
Here's one of my favorite quotes: motivation starts the engine, but discipline drives the car. If you only drive when you're excited, you're not getting very far.
All right, all right. No more waiting for good vibes to hit. I'm gonna try choosing action, even if it's just 5 minutes.
And that's the mindset shift. Start small, stay consistent. Trust that discipline will take you places motivation never could.
Okay, listeners, question for you. What's one thing you don't feel like doing today, but know you should? Try doing just a piece of it and see how it feels.
Coming up next, we'll dive into why focusing on the process matters more than the prize. Trust me, this next part is where everything starts to click.
All right, James, real talk. What's the deal with fall in love with the process? I keep hearing it, but my process usually includes procrastinating until I panic.
You're not alone. Most people get obsessed with the result: the six pack, the $1 million, the dream job. But the people who actually get there, they're in love with the process.
So you're saying I should enjoy meal prepping broccoli instead of fantasizing about fitting into my high school jeans?
Exactly. Results are just a reflection of the process. You don't grow by staring at the finish line. You grow by showing up day in and day out, even when no one claps.
Well, that's tragic. I was hoping for claps.
Trust me, I get it. We all want validation. But if you rely on applause to stay consistent, you're going to quit the second it gets quiet.
So, what does loving the process actually look like?
It looks like writing one paragraph even when your brain says you're not in the mood. It looks like running in the rain, studying even when the Wi Fi's bad. It's boring, but it's real.
You're killing the dream.
Not killing it, redefining it. Think of it like gardening. You water the plant every day, right? You don't yank it out of the soil every few hours to check if it's growing.
Okay, guilty. I've definitely checked for abs after one salad.
Exactly. The process isn't glamorous, but it's powerful. The 1% mindset is about showing up for the work, even if the reward is months or years away.
But what about people who need results to stay motivated?
That's a trap, because when progress slows down, and it will, they lose steam. But when your focus is on doing the work, on mastering the routine, you stay consistent no matter what.
Okay, that makes sense. But isn't it kind of discouraging not to see any results at first?
Sure, that's why most people quit. But here's the truth: early results aren't always visible. It's like building a house underground. You're laying bricks. People don't see it. You barely see it. You know me too well. Ever heard of bamboo?
Of course. Tall, skinny, looks great in minimalist apartments.
Did you know it barely grows above ground for the first 4 years? Like nothing. But underneath, it's building a deep root system. And in year five, boom! It grows up to 80 feet in just a few weeks. Exactly. That's how success works. You don't see the roots, but they're the reason the growth happens later.
Okay, wow, that actually hits. So maybe all the quiet effort I've been putting in, like journaling or learning Spanish, it's not wasted?
Not at all. Every word, every minute, every rep, it all adds up. Even if you don't see results today, you're building something solid beneath the surface.
Man, I really have to rethink my approach. I'm always focused on how fast I can get there, but I never stop to ask if I'm even building the right path.
Exactly. The 1% mindset doesn't chase speed, it chases sustainability. It's about becoming the kind of person who keeps going, not just someone who finishes fast.
All right, listeners, what's one process in your life that deserves more love and less rush? Think of it like watering bamboo. Even if you don't see it grow yet, you're doing the work.
Coming up next, we'll talk about how to actually build those tiny, sustainable habits that create momentum. Stick around.
All right, James, I'm convinced the process matters, but I got to ask, where do I even start? Because become a better human is kind of overwhelming.
Totally fair. That's where most people get stuck. The secret? Start ridiculously small. Like, so small it almost feels too easy.
Define ridiculously small. Are we talking like drink one glass of water small?
Exactly that. Think of a habit so tiny that your brain can't talk you out of it, like doing one push up, reading one paragraph, flossing one tooth.
Wait, flossing one tooth? That's cheating.
It sounds like it, but here's the trick. Once you start, you often keep going. Doing one push up usually turns into five. One paragraph becomes 2 pages. It's called activation energy. The hardest part is just starting.
So it's like tricking yourself into doing more by committing to less?
Exactly. BJ Fogg from Stanford calls it the tiny habits method. He says if you lower the barrier enough, consistency becomes inevitable.
Okay, so I don't need to overhaul my whole routine. I just need to pick a small, doable thing and link it to something I already do.
Yes, that's called habit stacking. You take a habit you already have, like brushing your teeth, and attach a new tiny habit to it. Like, after I brush my teeth, I'll do 2 squats.
Ooh, brushing teeth and squatting sounds like a wellness influencer's nightmare combo.
Maybe, but it works. The idea is to anchor the habit to something automatic. That way, it doesn't require decision making or willpower, it just happens.
All right. So let's say I pick a habit, like journaling. What if I forget one day? Am I doomed?
Not at all. That brings us to the second rule: forgive and reset. Missing one day is normal. Missing three? That's a pattern. The moment you notice you've fallen off, gently restart.
Ugh, I love that. Gently restart, like no shame spiral. Just try again.
Exactly. Consistency isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up more often than not.
Okay, but real talk. What if I'm the type to overcommit? Like I start with do 5 minutes of yoga and suddenly I'm designing an entire home studio?
Been there. That's why starting small helps. It removes the pressure. You're not building an empire in a day, you're planting a seed.
So the goal isn't to be impressive, it's just to be consistent.
Yes, let consistency be the goal, because impressive fades, but consistent? That changes your identity.
Whoa, okay. That actually hit. So instead of asking, did I crush it today? I should be asking, did I show up?
You nailed it. Identity grows from action. If you journal every night, you become a person who reflects. If you stretch each morning, you become someone who cares for their body.
Dang. So even if I only do 30 seconds, I'm still casting a vote for the person I want to become.
Exactly. One small habit is a vote for your future self.
All right, listeners, your turn. What's one tiny habit you could start today? And I mean tiny, like stretch for 10 seconds or lay out my gym clothes.
Write it down. Link it to something you already do. And give yourself permission to start small. So small that feels silly. That's the point.
Coming up next, we'll talk about what to do when life throws a wrench in your routine and how to stay on track without beating yourself up. Okay, James, let's say I've picked my tiny habit. I'm stretching for 10 seconds a day. I'm unstoppable, but then life happens. I miss a day or two, or let's be honest, a week. What now?
Great question. The honest answer: you forgive yourself and you restart. That's it.
That's it? No punishment? No motivational lecture set to dramatic piano music?
Nope. The 1% mindset isn't about being perfect, it's about being resilient. You're not aiming for an unbroken streak, you're aiming for momentum over time.
But what about that voice in your head? The one that says, well, you messed it up, might as well quit entirely.
Ah, yes, the all or nothing monster. That voice is loud, but it's lying. Missing one day doesn't cancel out all your progress. It just means you're human.
I mean, I did eat half a pizza last Friday and call it a cheat moment. It was more like a cheat marathon.
Totally normal. Progress is rarely a straight line. It's messy. It's two steps forward, one step back. Dance in place, trip over a chair, kind of messy.
Okay, but still, how do you actually bounce back? Like, what do you do when you slip?
I shrink the habit. Seriously. If I haven't journaled in days, I'll start by just writing one sentence. The goal is to make re entry easy, not heroic.
So instead of waiting for Monday or the next fresh start, you just jump back in?
Exactly. Waiting for the perfect restart is just procrastination dressed in a tuxedo. Start now, even if it's messy.
Dang, that hits. I've definitely postponed getting back on track just because I didn't have the right mood or a clean notebook.
We've all been there. That's why systems matter more than moods. Discipline isn't about being strict, it's about making it easier to show up again.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate for a sec. What if someone's missed like a month? How do you not feel like a total failure?
First of all, missing a month doesn't make you a failure. It makes you a person who had a rough month. Big difference. The key is to separate the event from the identity.
Explain that.
Sure, I skipped the gym is a fact. I'm lazy and undisciplined is a story. Don't confuse the two. The first you can fix, the second just holds you back.
Okay, wow, that's actually kind of deep. I never thought about it that way.
The 1% mindset allows for setbacks, it expects them. What matters most is how quickly you return to the habit, not how long you kept it perfect.
So it's not about never falling, just getting up faster each time.
Exactly. Think of it like this: missing one day, a blip. Missing 3 weeks and never restarting? That's the real danger. The quicker you bounce back, the stronger the habit becomes.
Okay, I'm writing this down. Restarting isn't failure, it's resilience.
Love that. And if it helps, make it visual. Use a habit tracker. Mark an X on your calendar every time you show up. It's motivating to see your effort grow, even if there are gaps.
Ah, yes, the old don't break the chain method. Unless I go on vacation, eat churros for a week, and come back to a broken chain. All right, listeners, if you've fallen off lately, this is your sign. Today's a great day to restart. No drama, no shame, just try again.
Up next, we'll talk about distractions, how they sabotage your progress, and what the 1% do to stay laser focused when the world feels like chaos.
Okay, James, so I've got my tiny habit. I've forgiven myself for flaking. I'm back on the horse. But then, bam, I open my laptop to work, and somehow 45 minutes later, I'm watching raccoons playing the drums.
That's oddly specific but weirdly relatable.
I'm serious. I don't even know how I got there. I just clicked one funny animal video, and next thing you know, it's been an hour and my brain's turned into mashed potatoes.
Yup. Welcome to the age of distraction. We are absolutely surrounded by digital dopamine. Endless scroll, notifications, autoplay, pop ups. It's like living in a casino with no clocks.
So, what do the 1% do differently? Are they just immune to the raccoon trap?
Not immune, just more intentional. They design their environment so distractions have less power. They don't rely on willpower, they change the setup.
Okay, explain that. Because I have the willpower of a sleepy kitten.
Let's start with this. Attention is your most valuable currency. The top 1% guard it like treasure. They turn off notifications. They keep their phone out of reach. They even uninstall certain apps during work hours.
Whoa, delete apps? That's intense.
Sometimes intense is necessary. Think of it like protecting your time the same way you'd protect your Wi Fi password during a Netflix binge. No one's stealing that signal.
Okay, fair. So, it's not about being superhuman, it's about being strategic.
Exactly. You don't need more discipline. You need fewer temptations. One of the easiest ways to win is to remove the things that constantly derail you.
All right, but what if I need those distractions for a break? Like, I use YouTube or Instagram to rest my brain.
Totally valid. Breaks are important. But be honest, is it really rest? Oh, it's just avoidance.
Ouch.
I'm not judging, but true rest recharges you. Mindless scrolling usually just drains you further. It leaves you more tired, not less.
You're right. I never finish scrolling and think, wow, I feel so refreshed and focused.
Exactly. So here's the fix: build intentional breaks into your schedule. Go outside, stretch, talk to a friend, even nap. Just make sure your rest is actually restful.
Okay, I like that. So instead of hiding in distraction, I plan real recovery. Radical concept.
Also, try creating a focused workspace. Fewer tabs, clean desk. Turn your phone face down or on airplane mode. Set a timer for 25 minutes and do one task. Just one.
Like the Pomodoro thing?
Exactly. Focus sprints. Work for 25, break for 5. That small structure keeps your mind sharp and reduces the need to escape into raccoon videos.
I feel so seen right now.
Distraction isn't a personal flaw, it's a design problem. If your environment is full of attention traps, your brain's going to fall for them every time. So you fix the environment.
All right, listeners, let's do a mini challenge. Look around your space. What's one distraction you can remove today? One app, one open tab, one useless notification?
Because the 1% mindset isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. You don't need to grind all day. You just need to protect your focus during the time that matters.
Up next, how to power that focus with something even deeper than habits or checklists, your personal why. Let's talk purpose. Okay, James, we've talked discipline, habits, distractions, but I gotta ask, what keeps the 1% going long term? Like, what stops them from burning out or just giving up when life gets messy?
Great question. And it's something people overlook all the time. The real engine behind consistency? Purpose.
You mean like a dramatic life mission statement written in calligraphy?
Not quite. I'm talking about having a reason that's personal, emotional, and crystal clear. Something that matters enough to keep you going, even on the days when discipline feels impossible.
Okay, so like get rich or have abs by summer?
Nah, that's surface level. Real purpose goes deeper. It sounds more like, I want to build financial freedom so I can take care of my parents. Or, I want to feel strong enough to keep up with my kids.
Ah, so it's the why that makes the habit meaningful?
Exactly. When your purpose is strong, motivation becomes a bonus, not a requirement.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I once stuck with daily meditation for 6 months, not because I loved sitting in silence, but because I wanted to stop snapping at people during traffic.
There you go. The habit didn't stick because it was trendy. It stuck because it solved something important to you.
So let me ask you this, what's your why? James, like real talk.
Good question. For me, it's legacy. I want to be someone who leads by example, someone my nieces and nephews can look at and say, he really showed up for his life.
Dang, that's so wholesome. Now I feel like mine's gonna sound shallow.
No way. There's no shallow if it's real. Purpose doesn't have to be poetic, it just has to move you.
Okay, then honestly, my current why is kind of survival. I want to prove to myself that I can follow through, that I can trust myself not to give up.
That's incredibly powerful. You're rebuilding self trust. That's one of the strongest reasons to keep going.
And it kind of changes everything. Like, suddenly, write for 10 minutes isn't just a task, it's a vote for the kind of person I'm trying to become.
Yes, purpose turns habits into identity shifts. You're not just doing the thing, you're becoming the type of person who does the thing.
So that explains why when people chase goals without purpose, they fizzle out fast. It's all external, no roots.
Exactly. If your only motivation is likes, trophies, or attention, you'll quit the moment it gets hard and no one's watching.
Woof! That explains my entire high school soccer career.
You're not alone. Most people build goals for the applause. The 1% build them for impact.
Okay, listeners, this is your cue. Pause for a second and ask yourself, why do I want to build these habits? What's the actual emotion behind it?
And don't settle for vague answers like, be better. Dig into the real reason, the one that gives you goosebumps, or maybe even chokes you up a little.
Because when the motivation's gone, when the day sucks, when the distractions are calling, that why is the thing that gets you back up.
Exactly. That's how the 1% mindset works. It's not magic, it's anchored action, rooted in clarity, driven by purpose.
All right, that wraps our 1% Mindset series. But before we go, we've got one final takeaway for you, and it's the one that ties everything together.
Coming up, our final thoughts, our favorite metaphors, and a challenge to help you start building your own quiet empire. 1% at a time.